British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon, I'm Emily Deneen, and here's your news update to 3. Coming up this Sunday is Mother's Day. Usually this is a time for moms to sit back, relax, and be pampered by their loved ones. However, as Isabella Calisi found out, not every mom is getting a restful weekend.
Joya Sue has been a floral designer for the last 25 years. She runs her family's flower shop in Burnaby and says that Mother's Day is the busiest time of the year for them. Weeks in advance, they're ordering supplies, basket, bows, and pink wrapping paper, and the week of is filled with creating mini bouquets and arrangements. Sue says that some days they're spending 12 to 18 hours putting together all their floral designs. With all the work it takes, Sue says that she relies on her family's help in the shop.
I am treated when they come to help me with the shop and serving customers and, doing the extras.
Sue doesn't expect flowers from her children, but says that their company and help is all the Mother's Day gifts she needs. Isabella Calisi, BCIT's The Crow.
So we are now joined by Isabella. Isabella, what would you say that Mother's Day is busier for florists than Valentine's Day?
Well, as Sue put it, actually, everyone's got a mother, but not everyone has a lover. People want to pamper their moms, and typically flowers and those types of gifts are what people go for.
Okay. And how long has Sue's family been running the shop?
Well, actually, her father owned it back in 1978. So although Sue only took over the shop about 25 years ago and become a full-time floral designer since then, they've been running that shop for the past 47 years and supplying flowers to the community.
Wow, that's really impressive. Thank you, Isabella.
Thanks for having me.
Good to Grow is a food consultant organization based in North Vancouver. Their annual trade show brings lots of vendors from all over the province to show off their products. Our reporter Alessio Cusano has more.
From the ground up, Good to Grow's annual trade show has been happening yearly since 2018. Andrea Gray-Grant, CEO of Good to Grow, explains why she started her organization and how much the show has expanded.
It was every year it got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. So we've now gone from 35 booths 6 years ago to 76 this year. We just keep growing and doing what the people that are coming to the show are asking for, right, is to see more local.
Gray-Grant founded Good to Grow in 2011 for the purpose of being able to support local food and beverage brands. Food sustainability is most important to Good to Grow, as well as many of the exhibitors at the show. Alessio Cusano, BCIT's The Crow.
Statistics Canada shows that about 20% of Canadians are still working from home full-time. Our reporter Keenan Tregaskis found where these people are going to work when they don't want to work from home.
In the Brentwood area, a co-working workshop has been operating for almost a year. Their goal is to provide people who work at home with an alternate space. The second Thursday of every month is a free day for people to decide if they want to commit to working at this office full-time. Jason Wong, the founder of Beta Collective Co-working Workshops, says his goal is to have his office full as often as possible.
I'm still relatively brand new business, brand new workspace. At this point, I am at about, 80% capacity. So my goal is to try to fill it up. I want to fill this space with more clients, with more members to be part of the Beta Collective membership.
Wong says people who want to work there full-time can sign up for their monthly membership. Memberships cost a few $100s a month. Keenan Tregaskis, BCIT's The Crow.
With nicer weather, wildfire season might be starting sooner than expected. The government of British Columbia says that there's 1,600 wildfires per year in the province. As of right now, data from the government shows that there's 2 wildfires that are out of control. These fires are in the northern part of the province. The government expects this number to rise drastically in the upcoming months. In 2022, there was a hit-and-run that struck a young Ukrainian girl. Maria Legenkovska was walking to class with her siblings and was struck by a vehicle and died. She was only 7 years old at the time of her death. The driver, Juan Manuel Becerra Garcia, turned himself into the police later that day. Garcia pled guilty Thursday morning. The judge will rule on the sentencing next month. Jeremy Skibicki is currently on trial for killing a woman in 2022. In a recent interview with the police, he has admitted to killing 3 more. Skibicki preyed on homeless Indigenous women. His lawyer said he should not get a full sentence as Skibicki has a mental disorder.
I was driven to do stuff like this because I was so spent emotionally. I killed 4 people.
Adam Montgomery, a New Hampshire father, was convicted of killing his 5-year-old daughter. It was reported that Montgomery moved her corpse around for weeks. He will be facing a minimum sentence of 56 years in prison for murder and other charges. Montgomery already has previous charges, so it is unlikely that he will get out of prison. He did not attend his trial in February or on Thursday and is attempting to be excused from sentencing. The man who killed 3 men who were surfing in Mexico admitted everything to his girlfriend. Jesus Gerardo was charged with the forced disappearance of 3 men, and now that the surfers were found dead, murder charges will be filed soon by prosecutors. The men were found with bullet wounds in their head and they were at the bottom of a well. His girlfriend said he told her he killed those 3 men. Rescue crews are searching for 3 skiers after an avalanche. This avalanche happened on the mountains outside of Salt Lake City, and it happened after some spring snowstorms. Craig Gordon from the Utah Avalanche Center says that 2.5 feet of snow fell in the past 3 days. Investigators are looking into the Boeing that skidded off an airport runway in Senegal. Rita Foley from the Associated Press explains the aftermath.
10 people were injured. Passenger video shows the aircraft on fire and passengers jumping down the emergency slides as flames shot out from one side of the aircraft. In the background, people can be heard screaming. The transport minister says the Air Senegal flight operated by Transair was on the way to neighboring Mali late Wednesday with 85 people on board. Boeing referred a request for comment to the airlines. This is the 3rd incident involving a Boeing airplane this week. The company's been under a lot of pressure since a door plug blew out of a Boeing 737 MAX during an Alaska Airlines flight in January, leaving a gaping hole in the plane. I'm Rita Foley.
Southern Brazil is being hit with massive flooding, which has so far killed over 100 people. Karen Chamas from the Associated Press explains what Brazilians are doing to keep safe.
More than 230,000 people have been displaced, and much of the region has been isolated by floodwaters. Dozens of displaced people have crowded into a warehouse in Porto Alegre for shelter from the floods. 68-year-old Heitor da Silva told the AP, "I only took my documents, 3 shirts, 2 underwear and my flip-flops. All the rest is gone." Climate scientist Álvaro da Silva says climate change is to blame.
This is what happens when we have 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer world than in pre-industrial time.
I'm Karen Chamas.
The United Nations is holding a discussion with Israeli and Egyptian authorities to restart fuel shipments to Gaza. This way, the UN can keep providing help and humanitarian operations to people who need it. The UN is currently rationing fuel. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says hospitals will shut down if they do not get the fuel they need.
The Rafah crossing from Egypt into Gaza remains closed, which is a major access point for supplies into Gaza. Fuel that we expected to be allowed in today has not been allowed in, meaning we only have enough fuel to run health services in the south for 3 more days.
Justin Bieber has announced on Instagram that him and his wife, Hailey Bieber, are expecting. This is the couple's first child, and they have been married for around 3 years. It is unclear how far along baby Bieber is. It's another t-shirt and shorts day with highs of 26 and lows of 10 overnight. And don't forget your sunscreen tomorrow with a high of 27. It's the perfect tanning weather. That's been your news update to 3 o'clock. I'm Emily Deneen for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
This is sports on 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon, I'm Sophie Hansen, and here are your sports updates to 3:15. The Canucks are back on the ice for Game 2 of the second round playoff series tomorrow night. Last game had fans on the edge of their seats as the team made a comeback from a 3-goal deficit, defeating the Edmonton Oilers 5-4. Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet says the team is expecting yet another challenging game.
I'm pretty sure this group's back on earth. They know, hey, that was great, but we got a long way to go. And that game tomorrow is huge. And how do we correct some of the mistakes, and how do we some of the stuff that we did well continue? Is it sustainable? You have to play that mental thing in your head. I think it's important.
Puck drop is tomorrow night in Vancouver at 7 o'clock. In more hockey news, the Toronto Maple Leafs have fired head coach Sheldon Keefe after 5 seasons with the team. Keefe led the Leafs to 5 playoff appearances, but only managed to get past the first round once. General manager Brad Treliving announced the decision this morning. Treliving said the organization determined a new voice was needed to push through to its ultimate goal. Management is expected to address reporters Friday about the coaching change and other end-of-season topics. Montreal's Professional Women Hockey League opens the playoffs with a best-of-5 semifinal series against Boston tonight at Place Bell in Laval, Quebec. Montreal captain Marie-Philip Poulet says she's thrilled to have the women's playoff hockey back in Montreal.
Obviously, we're going to use that energy from our fans. It's going to be exciting. We're going to use each other. I think taking the first couple of steps on that ice, just take a look around and just realizing we're in playoff. And obviously, in a season, obviously you have a couple games where you lose and we don't have time here.
The puck drop is today at 4 o'clock. Caitlin Clark will make her WNBA home debut with the Indiana Fever tonight. The preseason opener in Dallas had fans hooked as she scored a team-high 21 points. A nearly full house of up to 17,000 fans are expected to attend. Tip-off is tonight at 4 o'clock. In more basketball news, there are 2 games on the NBA playoff slate tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers will face the Boston Celtics in Game 2 of the East semifinals. Tip-off for Game 2 is also at 4 o'clock. MVP runner-up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will lead the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight against the Dallas Mavericks in Game 2 of their series. Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 29 points in Game 1 and will look to take a commanding 2-0 series lead at home before the series shifts to Dallas. Tip-off is at 6:30 from Paycom Center. Some local sports stars are making fans proud. UBC women's soccer star Catalin Tolnay and Alberta men's volleyball captain Isaac Heslinga have been named Canada West's Athletes of the Year. Tolnay, a Toronto native, was deemed the best player in the Thunderbirds soccer program, guiding the T-Birds to their 8th national title.
I think it just goes to show how great our program is at UBC and just like how hard the team has worked to get to where we are, just to be able to be recognized. I think it's just great, especially as a female athlete right now.
Both athletes have been nominated for the Lois and Doug Mitchell U Sports Athletes of the Year awards. Canadian Sports Minister Carla Qualtrough has named former Ontario Chief Justice Lise Maisonneuve will lead the Future of Sports in Canada Commission. The commission will consult with sports bodies and survivors of abuse on how to improve the national sports system. It will produce 2 reports during its 18 months. Qualtrough shared the members of the commission in this morning's press conference.
Appointed as commissioner is Justice Lise Maisonneuve, former Chief Justice of the Ontario Court of Justice. As a judge and former Chief Justice, Justice Maisonneuve has a strong background in the administration of justice and managing complex processes. She comes to this role completely independent from sport.
The Vancouver Giants selected forward Blake Chorney as the first round of the 2024 Western Hockey League draft pick. The 14-year-old from Northern Alberta Extreme was the 10th pick overall. That has been your sports updates to 3:15. I'm Sophie Hansen, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.